Hello, everyone. It is Saturday, so we are doing half hour of horror. I am Chase. Aaron is unfortunately unable to be with us today, but he will be back next week, as will our regular start time of 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. So today, we have a special guest co-host, one of the many minds behind Block of Horror. We have Mike. Mike, how are you doing today?
What's up, everybody? Doing great. Having an awesome Saturday and stoked to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us and thank you for coming on so last minute. But yeah, so today, since it is almost we're almost at the halfway point of 2025. And we have, of course, like the last few years, the 2020s, what a decade it's been for the horror genre. We've gotten so many horror movies, a lot of them great, some of them not so great. And we're going to talk about that. So, yeah. And again, thank you to everyone who is watching, whether you're watching inside the Prophets Theater, at the Block of Horror virtual world at blockofhorror.com, watching us on X or YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I already see KG and Karen are here. Join the chat. Tell us some of your favorite horror films of 2025 so far. Some that you want to see, films that you're looking forward to that are coming out. And of course, subscribe to Block of Horror on YouTube. And of course, like this video, share it to all your horror loving friends. So yeah, let's get started. Mike, what has been like, whether it be good or bad, what has been one horror film this year that has kind of stood out to you?
I think the one that I walked away from this year so far, raving about and telling all my friends to watch, was Companion.
Yeah, that really kickstarted this year. Because again, like that was kind of like the first kind of like big horror release. Of course, we did get a few like The Damned, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. But like Companion was kind of like that first big great horror movie that a lot of people were discussing this year. That one, yeah, I actually got to see that 5 days early through an AMC Scream Unseen. And yeah, this one was really good. Again, if you haven't seen it, go into it completely blind. Do not look up any trailers. Don't even look up the poster. Just go in.
I was about to share it.
You know what? Share the poster. It's fine. It's kind of ambiguous, but
Yeah, I really love this movie. I saw the poster. That was it. I didn't watch the trailer, I don't think. Um, and I think that's just been helping me so far these past few years is
yeah,
going into horror movies blind. I think there's a lot of mixed movies out there. I was in the theater 2 days ago for Bring Her Back, and the person in front of me had their phone open and were scrolling through Rotten Tomatoes of the movie as she's watching it. And I was like,
why?
I don't know. I think she was trying to read the end or like reading reviews as the movie was going on. And it was so annoying because I had a phone lit up in front of me. But who does that? It's ridiculous. Just
That's
watch the
so.
movie.
This is why theaters need to kind of adopt Alamo Draft House rules and just kind of kick people
Yeah.
out as soon as they bring. Because there's been so many movies I've kind of had that experience. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the time we live in where people are just so addicted to their smartphones
Yeah.
and spoilers and everything. Thankfully, I haven't had that too much, but yeah, Companion is one of those. I'm not going to even try to describe the premise. The first look up, if anything, look up the first teaser because it's very ambiguous. It gives nothing away. It just shows little bits. You have Sophie Thatcher, who has really emerged as kind of a great star. Not just in the horror genre, but in just film. I think she's going to be a star to look out for in the future. Of course, she was in Yellow Jackets, which I've only seen the first episode of the first season. She was in one of my favorite films of last year, Heretic. with Hugh
Hmm.
Grant, and this was kind of to me like I would say kind of her coming out, because again with Yellow Jacket, that's very much an ensemble cast. You got so many great actresses in it. Again, she was great in Heretic, but that was the Hugh Grant show. Like he
Yeah.
was, so this was really the one where it was like focused on her, showed her ability as an actress. Of course, you got Jack Quaid, of course, the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, who he's been making a name for himself the last few years.
A lot of horror
Um,
movies too with him. It's very surprising that
oh
I
yeah, you
didn't
got
even, yeah, Scream
Scream,
thing.
Tragedy Girls. Yeah, he's really been a big star on the rise. I know a lot of people love him on his role on The Boys on Amazon, which I haven't seen, but
It's great.
um,
It's a
it's
10 out of
great.
10, that one. Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, this one is a lot of fun. Again, go into this one blind. But yeah,
Yeah.
this was kind of the film to really kick start the horror season of this year. Um, what is another one that you would say? I know you just mentioned Bring Her Back. Should we go ahead and talk about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, no spoilers because it had just come out, I think this, right? It came, I saw it
Yeah,
Wednesday. Yeah.
not, yeah, just came out within the last few days, so people are just probably now just getting ready to get started to see it. Yeah, so this one is the new
This
film from the
this yeah,
Filippo. I
the
think,
yeah, the Talk to Me guys, right?
yeah, the Talk to Me guys. I think it's the Filippo brothers. Yeah, they did Talk to Me. They were, I think they made their start on YouTube, just making
Mm.
stunts and practical effect videos, and then it just led to them getting Talk to Me, which was phenomenal. Such a great debut. Bring Her Back. I have been. You talked about your experience seeing
Mhm.
it in the theater the other day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I'm not gonna go into anything. I also didn't see the trailer for this, and I saw the poster for the first time actually just walking into the AMC. And yeah, I wanted to go into this blind. What I do love about it is geez, yeah, it's hard to talk about something when you don't want to spoil anything, but it 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 was a very solid horror movie. It was just very solid. And what I guess I can say is they're Aussies, right? The two guys, the brothers, they're Australian. So
Yes,
I
yes.
imagine they filmed in Australia. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I will say when the movie was over, people were clapping and people were booing. So it's a very I think it's a mixed film, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's kind of that A24 effect.
Mhm.
Because again, this is a film from A24. A24 is a studio known for really letting their filmmakers get as creative as they want to get. Like, pretty much, like, of course, we've heard so many stories, especially since really the writers actor strike of a couple years ago, where these major studios were just forcing things onto these filmmakers like, hey, add this, we don't want this, like really a lot of studio interference. A24 is one of those, pretty much they like pretty much tell their filmmakers, do whatever you want, go as crazy as you want. But yeah, Talk to Me
Yeah.
was really, I would, the way I describe it, Talk to Me was very more mainstream friendly, where they do go explore a little bit more creatively with Bring Her Back. There's a lot of themes of trauma in this one. Sally Hawkins, who is a multi-time Oscar nominee, so good. She's so good in this.
Who is
um,
she in the Phantom Menace?
wait, she was in the Phantom
Well,
Menace?
yeah, I wonder who she played. Maybe she played one of the handmaidens.
Maybe.
Wow,
I
very, very interesting.
see.
It
I had
doesn't say.
really first heard of her from Blue Jasmine, the Kate Winslet film where she played Kate Winslet's sister.
Mm.
But yeah, she is, to me, this is one of her finest roles. The 17-year-old kid, Billy Barrett, who see, I actually saw this last Monday as a part of a AMC Scream Unseen. It was, so I got to see it almost 2 weeks early. and the Philbell brothers talked about it, and they said he's the youngest Emmy winner in history. He was so good. I was very impressed with him, and I think he's going to be really a star to look out for. The creepy little boy Jonah Phillips, the actor who played Oliver, was really good. Just to let you know, there's a scene in there involving a knife. I'm not going to give any more detail away. For me, I've become so desensitized with horror movies, you know, especially after just watching so many over the last so many years, so many decades. But the Philbell brothers would talk to me. There's a scene in Talk to Me with the boy when he gets possessed and he starts banging his head on the table. That there's a scene in this, like, for some reason they can make me squirm. It's hard to make me squirm, but they've managed to do it with their first two movies.
They know what they're doing when it comes to that really uncomfortable horror. It's like a mix of like gore and just downright craziness.
Yeah, and they know how to build a sense of dread. And again, it's not like the Terrifier films where it's just gore nonstop, which again, I love the Terrifier films,
Yeah.
but they're very subtle with their gore, but they do it in such a way like it's a build up. And then when you finally get to that really nasty, gory stuff, it's like, whoa, like it's just so unsettling and shocking. And yeah, this one, again, go in as blind as possible.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give anything away. Just go in and be prepared to get grossed out
Yeah.
and creeped out.
Yeah. And what a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm interested to hear more people's opinions on this because again, it's kind of like you said, like for your screening, there were people that were applauding, and then there were people that were booing at the end. Again, it's just kind of that A24 effect where the critics are going to love it, but audience, it depends. Like Midsommar, that's one of those. Like the critics loved it when it first came out, and then the audience, there were some that said this is a masterpiece, some that said this is a piece of shit.
Yeah, that movie, yeah, Midsummer was so uncomfortable for me. I'll watch anything, but I remember when that was over, I felt uncomfortable. And I think I mentioned this before in the past, but like if a movie made you feel any sort of way, I think it did its job. So I
Yeah.
don't hate it. I think it's great for that. And it just made me feel like, what am I watching? Why am I here? I'm just thinking about the poor people on set who had to endure all this craziness. And hey, it's A24 with I expect nothing less.
Yeah, and with like Midsommar, it took me a minute because I remember when I first watched it, I don't know, I think I was expecting something different. So it kind of took me off guard. I was like, I don't like this. But then after rewatching it a few times over the years, it's kind of one of those that's really grown on me. I'm like, yeah, this really is a great film. It's a slow burn, just to let you know, but it there's so many moments in it that are so uncomfortable, and and it really kind of gets at you towards the end. One I want to talk about this year is another that came out this year. The one that came out towards the beginning, but another one, again, it's kind of that it wasn't an A24 film, so it was more the Oz Perkins effect. I'm talking about The Monkey, which
Yes.
yeah. So of course last year, Oz Perkins, which I have the little popcorn bucket that they released. I always had that sitting beside me. Oz Perkins, of course, last year released Longlegs, which I would kind of say was kind of a sleeper hit from last summer because no one knew what to expect with it. The trailers were so vague. All you really knew, it just showed like little kind of creepy clips, and then you get to the film, and again, it's kind of that Oz Perkins effect. There were some that were like, "This is genius. This is a masterpiece," and there were some were like, "This was terrible." I loved Longlegs. So when he announced, like, "Yeah, I'm going to release 2 more movies through Neon that's all coming out within a span of a year. I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. So I was very much anticipating The Monkey. Of course, directed by Oz Perkins, based on a story by Stephen King, produced by James Wan. That's three horror powerhouses right there. And I felt like they delivered with this one. What did you think of this one?
I actually regret not seeing it in theaters. I remember there were a couple opportunities I had to go and I just didn't go. And then I caught it on streaming when it came out on VOD, I think. And wow, yeah, I was like, this. It was really fun. I was telling Chris
Yeah.
Carlson that too. It was just really fun. I think it felt like a really long "Are You Afraid of the Dark" episode
Yeah.
to me.
The way I'd kind of describe it is kind of like a more comedic Final Destination.
Yes.
Which again, that's probably going to be a film we're going to talk about here shortly. But
Yeah.
yeah, this one again, I didn't know what to expect with The Monkey because again, Long Legs is so dark and so bleak and disturbing. So I was kind of, and same with his other previous films, like he did a adaptation of Hansel and Gretel. He did The Black Coat's Daughter, which was his very first film. Again, very dark, very bleak. So this one was kind of like more of a fun film because again, it has a lot of comedy. The Monkey does a lot of dark humor that's kind of done with the gore, a lot of over the top gore. A surprisingly really good performance from Theo James, who was kind of like I would say like the early to mid 2010s. He was one of those that kind of got built up as like the next big leaning man. And again, they would just kind of put him in generic, random, kind of like big budget films. And he was just kind of like handsome leading man number 78 with abs. Like,
Yeah.
so this one I thought really he did fantastic. And he was funny. Again, he plays two roles in this. And I think it shows what he can do as an actor. You got a great young cast with Christian Covenry, who I thought was really good in Cocaine Bear a few
Oh,
years
that
ago.
movie was so good. That was a great movie. I loved Cocaine Bear.
That one was a lot of fun. But yeah, so you said you didn't get to see this in theaters. So you said you saw this one on streaming.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I was really excited about this once I finished it. I was like, wow, another good I wish it got more recognition. I think it did well. Did it do well? I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like people were talking about it. Yeah.
yeah, it did. I don't think it did. I don't think it made like Long Legs money,
Yeah. Yeah,
which Long
it wasn't
Legs,
as yeah, it wasn't as promoted as hard as Longlegs. And Longlegs had a really great marketing campaign. Like you were saying, it didn't give too much away. It was very
right?
subtle, especially Nick Cage's role didn't get butchered
They didn't
across the
even
board.
show. They didn't even show Nick Cage
That's right.
in
That's right.
any of the trailers or promotion. Like they pretty much, you don't even see Nicolas Cage until halfway through the
Mhm.
movie, and that was kind of like their big push. Like they heavily promoted him, like as the lead alongside Micah Monroe, and then you don't even see him until you're in the theater, sat down, and about halfway through the film.
Yeah. Yeah. Monkey was great. I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it yet. It has a lot of great cameos in here too, especially in the beginning. I was like, whoa, he's in this movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys will really like this one.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about because I didn't know he was in it until I was sat down and it was like the first few minutes. I was like, wait, is that who I think it is?
Yeah, especially running off one of the biggest shows of all time.
Right.
Right after that, I was like, that's an interesting casting thing. And then also too, I do really like Theo James. He was great in the White Lotus season two. Was it season two that he was in? Yeah, so good. Yeah, I had a great time with this one, so I highly recommend it.
Nice, nice. Another one I wanted, is there another one that you kind of went in this year and kind of were surprised with, how great it was or how bad it was?
Wolfman, I was not. I was. Look, man, I can go into movies and I have low expectations for everything, and I think that makes my experience a better experience in the theater because I'm getting off my ass, driving to the theater. I'm spending $12 on popcorn. You know, I but I expect nothing when I walk in, and I don't watch the trailers either anymore until afterwards. So,
All right.
so my expectations are low. But Wolfman, I was not. I was just like, that's it. Did something? Something supposed to happen? Nothing really happened to me. I guess I don't know. What do you think? What was your view on Wolfman?
I think I'm a little bit more negative on it than you are. Yeah, we were talking earlier before the show
Yeah,
started. Lee Winnell is a great filmmaker.
lovely one now.
You said Upgrade is one of your favorite film I haven't watched yet, but
Oh, okay.
I love The Invisible Man. I thought he was great, and of
Me too.
course he co-created Saw, which is one of the biggest um horror franchises of this millennium.
Hmm.
So and also Insidious too. He also co-created that one. um, but yeah, it's so I was very much looking forward to it. Like what kind of had me about it was first, it's a Blumhouse film that's being released in January. Of course, Blumhouse most of the time when they release in film in January, I think with the exception of Megan, it's usually one of those they just drop in like, oh, it's a PG-13 horror movie. People will go see it anyway. Like last year it was Night Swim, which was I
Mm,
think in my 2024 list, it's like towards the bottom. um, but yeah, so I mean, but again, I was like, it's Lee Winnell. I got hope in him. And yeah, it was so boring. I mean, there's a difference between a slow burn that kind of like builds up to something, but this was just so anticlimactic. And
agree.
yeah, I mean, the practical effects were cool, I guess. Some of that was kind of cool. But for the most part, it was just so boring, so drab. And it's just I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just didn't feel like anything was happening. I did watch some interviews though with Christopher Abbott, and he did have a lot. I think there was like he's playing a few roles, and the stages of turning into a werewolf I thought were nicely hit.
Yeah.
And he had to be a different actor for all of those because he was changing. But yeah, it just felt and maybe it was Julia Garner's role that it was just she felt so monotone and did a lot of things that I was like, would a real human being do this?
No.
Would a, so yeah, that kind of broke the suspense of disbelief for me. I was upset. I just expected more from Lee Winnell with his track record, you
Yeah, and
know.
it's one of those things we were talking about before the show went on air. That so this came out the week we aired half hour horror. We did the half hour horror, the substance episode.
Hmm.
Um, Me and Aaron had two frequent guests and longtime friends of the show, Chris Carlson and Patrick Mediate. After the show, Patrick was talking with us and was like, yeah, I'm going to go see Wolfman here in a few. And I had a free pass to the locally owned theater like 2 minutes down the road from my house. So I went to like their last showtime, which was like 9:30. And I remember getting back just home, just so disappointed. I remember messaging Patrick. I was like, hey, did you end up going to see it? What'd you think? I get like a long response and it's like a list of everything he hated about the film. And I'm like, you're right on the money. But
Yeah.
yeah, this was kind of a Blumhouse miss. I know the
Mm.
woman. What was the other one they had? The woman in the yard, I think it was. I
Oh
hadn't
yeah.
seen it, but I hadn't seen it, but I've heard very divisive things about it. To me, like the first like Blumhouse film that I was like, oh hell yeah, this is great was Drop, which came out
Mm.
about a month and a half ago. It's the new film from Christopher Landon, who did, of course, the Happy Death Day movies. He did Freaky. This one was a lot of fun. It's kind of more of a thriller, but it is about a woman going on a date with a man and she's receiving these creepy text messages. And I'm not going to go any more detail about it. I think the trailer showed enough of that.
Once again, they'll do anything to get you in the seats.
Yeah, I've only seen the trailer once, and I made it a point because again, I've gotten to the point where I don't even like trailers anymore because they show so much that it got to a point because Drop was one of those that showed so much of the film. Anytime I knew it was getting ready to come on and they'd like I'd see it, I'd actually walk out of the theater, go get a drink, go, hang out in the lobby just to avoid the trailer. But the film is surprisingly good. I got to see this one a few days early because they did an early screening of it. Definitely check it out if you love Christopher Landon's kind of comedic thriller horror style. You're definitely going to love this one. A little bit more serious than Freaky and the Happy Death Day films, but yeah, I dug this one. Have you seen this one?
No, but I will watch this tonight. It's been on my list, so yeah, I could totally watch this tonight, and I'll let you know how it is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was that? We're talking about trailers for a second. I think it's where is it? Okay. This movie coming out this year. We're on the subject of 2025. Weapons. I have not seen the trailer. If you have not seen this trailer, do not watch this trailer. This is a very anticipated movie. The guy who did Bandersnatch, is that who I'm sorry, not Bandersnatch, Barbarian. The guy who did Barbarian, did this. I'm not looking at this. I know nothing. I've seen the poster. Weapons. Do not watch the trailer and do this as a test for yourself to enjoy a movie without seeing a trailer. Go into this movie blind. I have very high hopes for it, and I know nothing about it other than it's the guy who did Barbarian, which we put him way up at the top.
So I have seen the trailer for this. When I went to go see Final Destination, when me and my partner went to go see Final Destination Bloodlines a couple weeks ago, or last week we went last week. It was one of the trailers they did show, and they didn't give too much away, but it's definitely more of like a traditional trailer and marketing compared to like how his previous Zach Cregger's previous film Barbarian was. Because Barbarian, that was one of those they wanted you to go in completely blind because all the trailers, all the teasers, all the marketing was so vague. And I think that's why people loved Barbarian so much because, I think especially with now how I say people's attention spans are ever since kind of post COVID. It's kind of like they're like, oh, well, we got to give everything away. But Barbarian and Longlegs were two of those like, no, we're going to keep as little as possible, keep as much as possible a mystery until you get to the theater. And, they kind of do that with Weapons, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it comes out August, I think.
Yeah, we still got some time.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully they don't release another trailer that shows kind of like what happened with Companion, where they released the initial teaser, and I was like, okay, this looks good, and then they release a trailer for it. I'm like, wow, like why did y'all do that?
Yes. I actually was in a theater. I was watching they brought the movie Seven back in IMAX, and I was watching that, and they showed the Companion teaser, and I was just like closing my ears, my eyes, everything, just waiting for it to pass. Yeah. Hard Eyes. I hear that's a great movie. Was it or a fun movie?
It's pretty fun. For me, I didn't love it as much as most people. I think, let me see what my rating was. I gave it 3 stars out of 5, which for me, it's not bad. It's pretty good. It just really wasn't what I was expecting, but I mean, it's enjoyable. It's kind of like Michael Kennedy's kind of known, who's the writer's kind of known for kind of mixing slasher with like a certain element. Of course, 2023, he wrote It's a Wonderful Knife, which was a Shudder film starring Justin Long, which was kind of like a slasher mixed in with a Hallmark Christmas movie. So this one is a slasher mixed in with those kind of real cheesy 2000s romantic comedies that you'd see like Jennifer Aniston or Jennifer Lopez star in. um, but yeah, it's pretty decent. I do need to give it another watch. I think I was expecting something more along the lines of like something like Thanksgiving or It's a Wonderful Life, where it was more leans heavier into the holiday theme. Because of course, this is a Valentine's Day themed horror movie, but it didn't really for me. It other than the kind of some Valentine's aesthetic, I think they should have leaned a little bit heavier into it. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I think I enjoyed it. I think there's most people enjoyed it more than I did, but again, I need to give it another watch.
Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely check this out. I have some friends that like thought it was, I guess, defied some expectations. I think maybe it was
Yeah.
very, very lowly expected to be good. But yeah, check it out. What else? What else on this list over here have you seen? Have you seen anything else on here?
Oh boy, yes. uh, Fear Street Prom Queen.
Let's talk about it.
Have you seen the 2021 Fear Street trilogy that they did?
That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, yep.
I haven't seen it. No.
So the 2021 Fear Street trilogy, it was unique because of course this was done originally by 20th Century Fox. When they got bought out by Disney, of course, passed up on numerous films, sold them to other studios. The Fear Street trilogy, I think they were going to release like one every month, like because for a span of 3 months. So Netflix bought it. They released it within a span of 3 weeks. Oh no, KG, I'm sorry. I'm about to I'm about to trash this film. So I've watched so many like behind the scenes stuff about the original Fear Street trilogy. Like it was one woman directed all 3 of them. It also had a hand in writing, and she was so hands-on with every aspect of the film, whether it be like the art direction, everything. She was so hands-on with everything, and this was like a real passion project for her. With this, it felt like a cash grab. It was just Netflix trying to capitalize on the popularity of the original trilogy. Because again, the original trilogy came out kind of in the middle of the pandemic and got so popular that when they were like, okay, we're going to release a new one, people were so excited. Um, there's so many things I did not like about this. Some of the kills, a couple of the kills were pretty cool. I'll give them that. But here's the thing: when you make, because it's set in the 80s, when you make a time period horror film, I think you need to focus fully on making a great story with great characters and let the time period that you want your film to be set on work around that. This was the complete opposite. They were so focused on packing in so much 80s shit. Oh, let's make these many movie references. Let's add all these songs. Let's do the big curly hair and this and that. And then the story and the characters just felt so secondary. None of the characters were likable. Again, I know in horror films there's supposed to be characters you're not supposed to like because you want to see them killed. You're rooting for them to get killed, but like this wasn't even like fun, unlikable.
I can imagine. I forget that this is also an R.L. Stein property, right? Because
Yep.
I remember seeing the books because I was a huge Goosebumps books fan. When I'd go to the mall with my mom, I'd run into the Walden books and run to the back of the store and find and just the smell of the books back then. It just, I mean, I don't read paper books anymore. Everything's on my iPad. But like, I just, man, going into a bookstore and every time I go into a bookstore, it's that smell of Goosebumps books for me that triggers that. And I remember seeing the Fear Street books back there too at some point, like maybe halfway through the series. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
well,
haven't seen this yet.
Goosebumps was kind of the introductory for like the kids, like I would say grades like 1 through 5. And then
Hmm.
I think from what I understand, because again, I don't have any of the Fear Street books, but I think Fear Street books was more teen more a teen target audience. But yeah, this just didn't have like a lot of the strong story elements and the strong character elements that the original trilogy had. It just kind of felt like, again, Netflix was just capitalizing
Yeah.
on the name. Now, I will say, because again, with a good teen based slasher this year, one that came out this year, actually earlier this month, that I really enjoyed, based off a book which I haven't read, Clown in a Cornfield. I thought this one was pretty good. Again, I feel like, I know like one of the first episodes I did a half hour horror was gateway horror, where we talked about like what was our gateway horror. I think for people who have kids, if they want it, like, when they start to get a little older, like 15, 16, 17, and they're wanting to kind of like, okay, let's introduce you to some more kind of more mature, gory or horror films, this is a perfect one to introduce to like a teenager. It has relatable characters that are, that a teenager can relate to. The story's good, the kills are good, the gore's really good, and this one's a lot of fun. I think it's a Shudder film, which Shudder has been killing it the past few years with their original projects and releasing them in theaters, which is so refreshing to see a streaming service prioritize theatrical releases, and I love that they're doing that. So yeah, if you have you seen this one yet or heard anything about this one?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I did see the writer of the book. He was very grateful, and I loved watching his journey of getting this movie made and going on book tours, and his book is selling even more because of the popularity of the film. So really great to see that.
Oh yeah, and I think it's a 3-book series. So hopefully, you know what? If this gets made, if they decide to do the other 2 movies, I will support it. I thought this was a lot of fun. If you got, maybe seasoned horror fans might find some of the younger characters annoying, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, especially with me, I had fun with it.
Yeah.
If you got teenage kids, take them to go see it. This would be perfect for someone who's like, and I'm not ready to show my teenager Terrifier yet, but
The
but
introduction, the gateway
yeah,
Terrifier.
this
Yeah.
is the gateway to Terrifier.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to
Yeah.
put it.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. And again, Shudder releasing their stuff theatrically. Love to
Mhm.
see it. I know we were talking about Ash. I know you have not seen that.
Right.
Or I think you started it but weren't able to finish it.
I fell
Hadn't been
asleep.
able to.
Fell asleep in the beginning, but not because it was boring, but because I was tired.
I've been there too.
Yeah. I,
That's another one I need to see. I've heard pretty good things about it. I know they also released one called The Rule of Jenny Penn with
I
John
did hear
Lithgow
about
and
that. Yeah.
Jeffrey Rush. I was a little bit more mixed on it. To me, it ran a little too slow, but if you watch it, just watch it solely for John Lithgow's performance. He's a absolute powerhouse in it. Of course, he kind of plays the main villain, and he plays such a good psychotic character. I thought he was phenomenal. Anyone that you kind of want to specifically mention, another one that you've seen that you were impressed with, or one that you're looking forward to that's coming out later this year?
Um, I mean, I definitely want to. We briefly talked about this before the show, Death of a Unicorn. I think the cast looks great. I love Anthony Carrigan from Barry. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was
Uh,
good in Barry.
So I'm curious about this movie. I'll definitely take a look at Death of a Unicorn.
No,
Um,
you got
yeah,
Paul Rudd, Jen Ortega, Will Poulter, you great cast.
yeah,
I know the way someone described this to me was because again, it got very mixed reviews when it came out, and the way I saw someone describe it, because again, it's an A24 film. A24 is known for having such a high standard of filmmaking. I know now they're trying to explore into kind of more mainstream friendly films. They're trying to grow their brand, grow their studio to be kind of compete more with the kind of major studios like Paramount or Universal or someone like that. the way I saw someone describe it was, if this had been released by one of the major studios, they feel like it would have gotten better reception. But because it was released through A24, because people have such a high bar for them, I think people were disappointed. So I'll go into this one. Again, this isn't one I haven't seen yet, but I do love Paul Rudd. I love Will Poulter. The trailers, the teasers look really good. So I definitely need to check this one out.
Yep, that's on the list too. I have a whole marathon of movies to watch this weekend. And then
Sinners. Now, have you seen
yeah,
Sinners yet?
I have this so I had a ticket booked to go, and then I went to Japan. I was too busy leading up to it, and then I went to Japan, and I missed the 70 millimeter, which we have here in Los Angeles at the
Oh,
Hollywood Universal.
lucky.
So I was going to go, and then when I got back, I remember I was in Japan. They brought the 70 millimeter back because it was so popular. Booked my seat, and then I got sick on my last few days of my Japan trip, so I couldn't go. I'm really
Oh,
bummed, and someone could probably look this up in the audience. The screening room where they hold the 70 millimeter IMAX, that's where Christopher Nolan uses his actual like personal screening room at our movie theater here,
oh,
when he's
wow.
screening his own films. So that is the room that The Sinners was playing in. I'm bummed I didn't see this yet, but I think it's on streaming now, or VOD, so it's time to watch this now.
Let me look on Prime real quick. So this one is one I saw twice in theaters.
Awesome.
It is really good. I got to see it the first time just on, again, locally on theater, right by my house, the opening night. So it's still on pre-order. So it's not available to rent yet.
Okay.
But yeah, this one was one of those, because again, it's not a sequel, it's not a remake, it's not based off a previous popular IP. This is like an original idea. This is truly an original film. And again, it's one of those, I think now we live in an age where a lot of people are like, oh, why don't we go get original stuff anymore? And then when something original comes out, they don't go see it and it flops. And then so it's like, that's why we don't get original stuff anymore. Cause but this one killed it at the box office.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Made,
the hottest movie right now. Yeah, it's
oh yeah,
great.
made so much money. It's fantastic. It's Ryan Coogler, this was really his first original kind of that's not based off. Of course, Ryan Coogler did the first Creed film, which is a spinoff of the Rocky films. He did the 2 Black Panther films, which is based off, the Marvel Comics, part of the MCU. So this was like really the first film he got to do where it was like something original. He didn't have those kind of like restrictions of, you got to stick close to the source material, the Rocky films or the comic books. And at this one, it really paid off. To me, this is actually my favorite film of the year so far. And yeah, if it goes back on 70 millimeter IMAX, which we don't have, but if you get that opportunity, go see it.
I definitely will. I'm very disappointed because I was like, I'm not a film maximalist. I'll watch. I need to be in a nice theater. That's all I need. I need to be great sound, great visuals. IMAX would have been awesome for this, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this film. So I'm very excited to see it regardless. And I did hear Ryan Coogler is bringing back X-Files.
No way.
Oh yeah, he's got. I think he's got verbal approval from Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny. Last I read, so I think he's bringing it back as a TV series, which could be
Very
really fun.
nice. Good for him.
I'm a big X Files guy, so that
Good
would
for
be fun.
him. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler is definitely going to be one to look out for. But yeah, this one, this was really a big surprise hit. I don't think people expected it to make as much money as it did,
Yeah.
especially for an original horror film, not based off an IP, not based off a sequel, just an original idea. And it's $100 million budget, and it destroyed the box office.
So glad we need
Ye-
that. We need
yeah,
more horror.
yeah, we do, and more original horror. And I feel like I'm happy this did as well as it did, and just to see just a big original project kick off like it did, I'm very happy to see it. Trying to think what else came out this year. Anything that's coming out soon that you're looking forward to? I know what you did last summer. The the new sequel coming out. I know we got Megan 2.0, which I've heard people are more mixed on that.
Yeah, I did hear some interesting takes so far based on the trailer. I'm loving the marketing campaign for this because I think I saw a billboard in Hollywood and it was like Megan 2 and it says like I'm still that bee. And I'm just like, this is so good. I love it. And I did see the trailer for this, and they used a trailerized rendition of "Oops, I Did It Again" by Britney Spears, which I thought
Yeah,
was really cool for the trailer. So
yeah. It's kind of gotten mixed things from people because again, Megan was this kind of good, smallly contained, kind of horror sci-fi film.
yeah,
Um, it, it, it I'm not going to give too much away because I know there's are people that because I have seen the trailer. They play the trailer for every damn movie I've seen. It looks like they're kind of taking the Terminator 2 route.
yes,
Um, where with the first Terminator, it was just the small sci-fi action film with a little bit of horror elements to it. Then when the sequel came out, it was just so much bigger. It became more of a sci-fi epic, action epic. So it kind of looks like they're taking inspiration from that. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'll go see it.
yeah. I'll see it too. It seems like so we have Blumhouse, and then we also have Atomic Monster. And is Atomic Monster more of James Wan's sci-fi house where he could do more sci-fi, or is that horror as well, or a combination?
I think it's a combination. Because again, James Wan is kind of really started out as like, well, I think Blumhouse kind of sticks with kind of the small budget horror films. Atomic Monster, it seemed like James Wan has like, because again, James Wan started out as a small, low budget horror filmmaker, and he's kind of looking at it now. He's done a Fast and Furious film. He's done both the Aquamans. So I think that is kind of like I think that does horror, but it also does like bigger sci-fi and action films. So I think it kind of has taken kind of that Atomic Monster.
Yeah,
um,
I think so. Yeah, James Wan also produced the Mortal Kombat movie that came out in 2021.
and
So
we're
yeah,
getting this
that was under Atomic Monster, and we're getting the sequel.
this year, I think, in October.
I'm excited.
Um, Another one, Black Phone 2, which I remember I questioned this one time on Twitter, and I became horror Twitter's biggest villain that day. So many people were pissed at me. I felt like, because of course it's the sequel to 2022's Black Phone, starring
Yeah,
Ethan Hawke, directed by Scott Derrickson. I Here's the thing: not everything needs. Here's the thing: anyone watching, not everything needs a sequel. Not everything needs a sequel. I felt like Black
yeah,
Phone could have been strong as a one-off. And when they announced the sequel, I was like, why? But from the stuff I've been hearing, like the little what people have been saying coming out of like test screenings and stuff like that, I'm kind of interested. It seems like they're kind of taking a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of inspiration to it. So, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I love Ethan Hawke. He's phenomenal. So, yeah, we'll see. Are you excited for this one?
I am. I mean, it's Scott Derrickson. I think he's great. He did Sinister, obviously. So I'm glad he's back for this because he didn't do Sinister 2. He just did Sinister 1, and
Yeah, we saw
I
how that turned out.
yeah, exactly. So you bring the original director back. He also did the Doctor Strange movie, which I really loved. And Ethan Hawke, you can't go wrong with him. We had Abby Cobb on a few weeks ago, and Abby Cobb had just finished filming a series coming out soon with Ethan Hawke, and she had many scenes with Ethan Hawke. So hey, Ethan Hawke's great, Abby's great. Let's get it in. So let's welcome Black Phone 2. Let's see how it does. I know it doesn't need a
Yeah.
sequel, but we'll see how it does.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I for the longest time I felt like it was just one of those that just should have just been a one-off. But I'm open to the idea. I'm excited. Ethan Hawke is phenomenal. I feel like Black Phone is probably one of his strongest roles. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
28 years later, are you looking forward to that one?
I am. And you know what's funny? And this is a hot take. I liked 28 weeks later more than 28 days later.
What?
I, I know that's terrible, especially for someone who went to film school and works in the industry, but I thought Jeremy Renner was great, but
Yeah.
also that first scene in 28 weeks later was the most heart-pumping scene I've ever seen in horror in my whole life. That first scene is that just killed me in college. I was like, "Whoa, this was insane." Um yeah, but yeah, so maybe it's 28 years later, right? So
28 years later, and then January of next year, we're getting another 28 years later.
okay.
Yeah, they already filmed it 28. Let me see what it's called on Letterboxd. 28 years later. Yes, 28 years later, part two, The Bone Temple. And I think that's the one. I know it's going to be directed by Nia DaCosta, who did the 2021 Candyman sequel, which I felt was a really good film. Yeah, you're getting Ray Fiennes in this one. I think Cillian Murphy's supposed to pop up in one of them, which I'm
Mm.
stoked for. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I prefer 28 weeks later or 28 years days late. Oh my god, I'm so confused. I prefer 28 days later
Yeah,
just because I really like that smaller, low budget, more contained.
sure.
But 28 weeks later, I felt like was a decent sequel. It's definitely a lot bigger and
Mm-hmm.
than 28 days later. But yeah, I'm excited for 28 years later. We're getting a new Predator film this year.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm very excited. I love Dan Trachtenberg. I really do. His 10 Cloverfield Lane is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I got to do a trailer for it, which I was so pumped about. And funny story about that is when I was cutting this, I remember we got the film in, I watched it, and I was like, guys, can I just take a stab at this and no one give me any direction? I just want to do this. And they're like, yeah, sure. Cut it in a day and sent it to the team. And they were like, this is awesome. But we want to, they wanted to add the ending scene to the trailer, which is the whole big twist.
right.
And we fought so hard against it and we won that battle. And then another trailer house put out a trailer two, and then that one had the ending, the twist ending. It was like, come on, what are you guys doing? Um, but I tweeted something about it, about how we won that fight, and then Dan Trachtenberg liked it and retweeted it, which was really cool. But yeah, he did Black Mirror. He did the playtest episode with Wyatt Russell. Um, yeah, Dan Trachtenberg's the man. He did the pilot for The Boys. And yeah, and then he did Prey.
Prey, which was, yeah, after so many disappointing Predator sequels, it was finally so satisfying to get that great Predator sequel or
Yeah.
second Predator movie. And yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, we're also getting an animated film here in like the next couple weeks. The Killer of Killers, that's going to be exclusive to Hulu, where they're releasing Predator Badlands in theaters, which they should have done with Prey. They
Yeah.
should have done with Prey. I'm hoping that one of the things they do to kind of help promote Predator Badlands is release Prey in theaters. I want to see that in theaters. But yay, we're getting a Predator movie. We're getting Predator Badlands in theaters. I'm
They
happy
should do
for
a
it.
double feature. Yeah, they should do a double feature, right?
I'd go see it.
Yeah, me too. I would love to see that in theaters. Prey was an awesome movie. Sucks I can only watch it on on the small screen, you know?
Yeah. I did buy the Blu-ray because again,
Cool.
Hulu doesn't release their stuff physically, which I hate because I loved really in 2022. They had so many great films, not just Prey, but they had the Hellraiser reboot, which I absolutely loved. They
Mhm.
had Fresh with Sebastian Stan.
I
Um,
love that movie. What a
yeah,
great movie.
so good. And it's just so disappointing that out of those, and No Exit, which was a surprise hit. It's just a
Mhm.
shame out of those 4 films, the only one I was able to get they released physically was Prey. And I think that was like, even then it was only because I guess where it got so much Emmy nominations the next year that they
Yeah.
finally released it, which I'm happy for it. You know,
Yeah.
please release Hellraiser 2022 and 20th century release Barbarian, because that's still not out on physical. But
Yeah. Are they going to do another Hellraiser?
I
Because
think
I
they're
feel
working
like,
on it.
yeah, because I feel like the 2022 one did well.
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I loved it. Thought it was great.
I think it got mixed reviews, but a lot of people pretty much said it was definitely a step up from the straight to video ones that we've been getting the
Mm.
last, which is funny because anytime I tweet about that I love the 2022 Hellraiser, I'll of course get, oh, this movie sucked. This was the worst. I was like, have you seen any of the straight to DVD ones? Those are some of the worst films ever made.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
fun fact, we were talking about Scott Derrickson. Scott Derrickson, his first film was actually a straight to video Hellraiser film, Hellraiser Inferno.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And I'm trying to think what else we're getting. I know next year we're getting a new Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Burn, which I'm looking forward to. I know we're getting Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which I wasn't a big fan of the original one, but again, I'm 35 years old. I was well into adulthood when the game came out, so
Yeah. Same.
it's not.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those that they know that's target audience. They know it's for the teens and young adults, so that's made for the teens and young adults. Yeah, I mean, just so far we got and Chris Stuckman's film, the YouTube film critic, he has a film coming out this year.
Oh.
Shelby Oaks, which is his feature length debut, which is one of the executive producers is Mike Flanagan.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, so that's coming out in October, so something to look forward to there.
Yeah. And I know the Dave Franco, Allison Brie movie too, together. There's some news around that with them stealing something I read, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I know nothing about it, but the poster looks awesome, so I want to watch it.
Yeah, I'll see that. Something else we're getting another Oz Perkins film this year.
Ooh, what's this? What's this one?
Let's see, Osgood Perkins, because I know with him he had signed a multi-picture deal with Keeper. It's called Keeper. It's coming out sometime this year. Yeah, and they showed a little preview of it, a little teaser after The Monkey, scheduled to be released in October. So yeah, we got that to look forward to as well.
Okay, I'm excited, man. A lot of good horror to come in 2025. The year's not halfway over yet.
Oh yeah, and a lot of good stuff to look forward to in the world of Block-O Horror.
Hey.
So next week I was talking to Aaron, so next week we have a very awesome guest lined up. So we're going to be talking, of course, we were talking about Megan 2.0, and Megan we are going to be talking next week on Half Hour Horror about robot horror films. And of course, we are getting our friend, Scream Queen legend Kelly Maroney will be joining us. Of course, Kelly Maroney, you know her from Chopping Mall and Night of the Comet. She'll be joining the conversation about robot horror. We got a whole stacked lineup of guests coming, like a whole month's worth. So big things coming. I know big things are coming to the Block of Horror virtual world very soon, which we're gonna keep kind of that hush hush.
We got some cool stuff on the way. We thank you guys for being very patient with it too, with development in the works. But yeah, we have a lot of really cool stuff going on and some new upgrades coming to the world. Taking a little longer than expected, but we're gonna have some really cool stuff lined up for you guys. So we'll let you know as soon as that comes.
Awesome.
And so we give away some blood coin today.
Let's do blood coin. What should the cute code word be today?
Well, what's the topic today?
2025.
All right. Well, there we go.
So yeah, if you go to our Discord, the Block of Horror Discord, open up a ticket and type in 2025, you'll get some blood coin. And of course, go to Block of Horror. Of course, check out the Block of Horror virtual world at blockofhorror.com. Check out Block of Horror on X, Block of Horror on YouTube, Block of Horror on Discord, all the socials. And Mike, let's do some plugs. Mike, what do you got going on?
Oh man, it's just been work. Got some new projects in the work outside of Block of Horror, but yeah, man, follow us on everything. At Block of Horror on all of the socials. And Chase, where can we see what you got going on?
Yeah, so you can follow me on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd at OHChase, TikTok at OHChase _. And of course, here every Saturday on Half Hour Horror at the blockofhorror.com virtual world inside the Prophets Theater, or X at Block of Horror, or YouTube, Block of Horror on YouTube, which of course subscribe to that. Share with all your friends, like the video. And Aaron, of course, could not be here today, but he's going to be back with us next week. So you can follow him and his other podcasts, Launchpad Pod at Launchpad Pod on all the socials, some socials at McLean and Abel. And yeah, tune in next week for Robot Horror with Kelly Maroney, Scream Queen legend from Chopping Mall. Really excited to have her. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us on the special start time. We'll be back next week at our regular start time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. And yeah, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see y'all next week on Half Hour Horror.
Cheers, everybody.